The Paris sale has been going on for 90 days. Today we're breaking down everything Paris, starting off with this right here, which is the biggest mistake possible that you can make, and that's going to be judging Paris by the first day afterwards. We can look at what happened with Stockholm when we saw the absolute explosion. Obviously Stockholm was a good investment, but we can also look at Antwerp. We can see that afterwards it went down for a period. Even RMR that went down for a period, they're now both profitable. Antwerp significantly more, and the truth is if you judge the long-term potential of the capsule based off the first day, you're going to be ending up losing out. SkinSwap is today's sponsor, and they're also sponsoring you with a free bonus for signing up with the first link in the description. They're the premier place for CSGO and Rust skins with a massive trading site and a top-of-the-line marketplace, offering you the most competitive rates out there and a massive 40% bonus when you're using that link in the description. Combine that with their top-of-the-line selling feature with many payout options and their trading feature legitimately taking you just about a minute, and there's no reason not to sign up with that first link in the description. Now let's be completely straightforward. Obviously, we don't know if Paris is going to be a good investment or not. We talked about how it's been on sale for 90 days, but I don't think it's going to be fair to judge Paris based off the short-term potential it gets after a week's worth of removal. If we want to look at what happens to capsules when they get removed, they either skyrocket or they implode right away, and I don't think either of them is actually that great of an indicator for long-term success. This is because we can look at real capsules like this one right here and see even though it exploded right off the bat, it really hasn't panned out to be an absolutely massive investment. Obviously they're up, and they're up quite significantly when we're comparing it to a real world investment. However, considering it was on the same trajectory as the Stockholm Challengers capsule, which has turned out to be almost a 30x investment, you could obviously say the Rio capsule is lacking in this sense. Now bringing it back to which Paris capsule is the best, we're going to be looking for the one thing that the Rio capsules are missing, and that's absolute demand. We need to make sure we're investing into capsules that have demand behind them, and the biggest three that always have demand are going to be the ones with the team logos. That's just because they're significantly more desirable to open, and obviously the amount of people that are going to apply a team logo is significantly bigger than the amount of people that is going to apply a specific autograph sticker. Now this is very evident when we look at Antwerp and what happened there, and we can see that the massive growth for a lot of Antwerp capsules happened to be the ones that had the team logo and one specific autograph capsule. We'll get to that caveat in a quick second. When we're talking about these team logo capsules, I think it's going to be in your best interest to try and dedicate a decent amount of your Paris portfolio for investing into this area, just because these have historically proven to be one of the better investments. Now talking about the autograph capsules, the one caveat we mentioned is when an autograph capsule has a couple big specific things about them, and the biggest one is going to be demand for a couple specific holos or golds, and that's exactly what we see here with the Paris Contenders autograph, which is exactly what we saw here with the Antwerp Contenders autograph. It had that rocks holo, and we look at the Paris Contenders autograph right here, it's got a couple of the most expensive holos, and I think there's definitely an argument that could be made about potentially investing into these ones because this capsule is probably going to be the most demanded autograph capsule and therefore have at least a little bit of unboxing demand after the Paris major finishes. The thing with autograph capsules is they drop off very significantly in the amount of them unboxed once the major is actually removed, and that's why a lot of them don't pan out to be the best investments over the longer period of time when the team logos are continually being unboxed. Now I know amount listed on the market can be a very interesting statistic, but the truth is it's not one that I want you to overemphasize on. We also talk about ROI. ROI is a factor I like to focus in on because it's a numeral statistic we can use, but not everyone looks at ROI unless it's above 100%. Same with the market listings. Although it's definitely a great starter point, you can't really use it for too much because these are people that have willingly chose to put their capsules on the market, and I want you to take that into your consideration. Now if you're looking to invest into stickers, you're probably looking at the glitters and the holos, and the glitters probably look a little bit more advantageous. They're just significantly cheaper, and therefore they have the possibility to become much more expensive rather quickly. However, I do want to point out this data from the Antwerp glitters right here. As you can see, the Antwerp glitters perform significantly worse than the Antwerp holos at almost 230% worse, almost identical to what we saw for the regular team logo capsules is the growth we saw for glitters. Now coming back to the Paris glitters right here, we can see over the past month, a lot of them have not performed really well at all. In fact, almost all of them are down or even at 3 cents, which is really bad. If you want my honest opinion about the glitters for Paris here, I still think they have some potential. I think most of the potential probably lies within the capsule growth itself, but the truth is I wouldn't personally invest into this area just because it's a little bit more risk than you need to be taken on for a relatively average return for the area, and that's at least how I see it. Now talking about the Paris holos, we have seen an absolutely massive drop for a significant amount of them, and this is not something that's absolutely unexpected. What is unexpected is the fact that it's happening now. A lot of them are up quite significantly, and some of them still are, like the Gamer Legion, but the fact that they're now 90 days into the sale starting to fall off a little bit is potentially a sign that people are thinking there's more to come. A lot of people were really nervous about the impacts of Paris when we see another major update, because the liquidity of Paris would be a really bad factor for it, because a lot of people would be looking to instantly sell off a lot of their items. And I think that's definitely what's happening here as we get closer to the end of summer and potentially the release of CS2 specifically out to everyone. A lot of people are nervous about these Paris Holos, and I think that's going to be the biggest working thing against them at the current moment. Now, investing into them at this specific time would not be the most ideal, at least in my opinion. Although the prices are down a little bit, a lot of them are still significantly higher than what we ever saw for Antwerp, and I don't like to make that comparison because they're not one-to-one specifically, but the fact is when we're seeing Holos that are still over $10 when the most expensive Antwerp Holo was like $3, it's really not in the same ballpark. People look at this right here, the 520% growth that Antwerp saw, and they see the only thing about that is massive growth. They don't look into the fact that a lot of Antwerp Holos were significantly cheap, and that's why they were able to achieve that massive growth. With Paris, I don't think that's possible, and I think most likely for everyone, the capsules are probably going to be a safer and better option if you're looking to invest into Paris. Now, we just mentioned a major update, and that's actually a really bad worst case scenario for Paris. That's because if we want to look at what happened with RMR, we can see that RMR was profitable for a bit, and it was still profitable until Operation Riptide came out. That's because Operation Riptide completely changes the dynamic of where the interest is. Not only are people not spending money on sticker capsules at that point, but they're potentially selling them off to go ahead and buy into this brand new content. That's a very detrimental thing when we take into consideration, at least in my opinion, the only reason the Paris Holos have sustained such a very high price point is because they have little to no competition in terms of the general public right now. People are not looking at a brand new operation, a brand new case. Nothing has come out in terms of brand new content, which is one of the reasons why I said in the intro, it's not going to be a fair comparison to Paris to try and compare it to Stockholm first day, because Stockholm had Riptide going on, whereas we look at Paris, it's got absolutely nothing, and that makes it such an interesting specimen. When it comes to Paris being removed, I think it's quite likely that it's going to happen with CS2. That's because Valve has a very strong opportunity to monetize all the brand new people that are coming into play CS2 when it fully releases out, and Paris is going to be a very strong option for a lot of them, but Paris only generates them 50% of the revenue that a case or potentially an operation star would, and I think they're definitely smart enough to realize they need to make sure they're getting in all of that revenue. And today we have officially crossed the mark to be the longest time in CSGO history without a brand new case, and I think that's just another thing leading up to the fact that we're probably going to see an absolutely massive update on the horizon. Now, for me personally, I plan for this to be the last full video I ever create about Paris unless something absolutely major happens. That's just because I honestly think it's going to be removed relatively soon. Now, what specifically should you do is a little bit more of a mixed question. In my honest opinion, I think if you're going to get into Paris, you might as well do it now. I don't think stickers are going to be a very strong opportunity for most people, and when we look at the capsule growth, usually not too many things outperform it, and I don't know if honestly anything is going to outperform it on average just because of looking at the prices of the glitters and the holos currently. But that's all I got. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.